reggae stars going right now. And his name is Mr. Duane Stephen. He is proudly from Augustown in Jamaica, and that is where he's from. He's proud of coming from there, and he's proud of the name that he's really helped build for Augustown. So, welcome, Duane Stephenson, to Game Changers with Fabian Lyon. It's an honor to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is mine, man.
Well, we're just chatting before we actually went live, and it's just fascinating how, for example, just going back to Augustown, how you, Sizzla, and Itana are all from Augustown, and that really speaks to all the talent from that area. So let's talk about, once again, maybe your relationship with them and how all three of you really support each other.
I mean, we've always been, of course, Sizzla is a person who definitely was a trendsetter among us. He got out there way younger than myself and Etana did. His journey was definitely something inspiring for us. But definitely for me, I know Etana was living here in the United States. So, and I would figure that is the same trend because when she came to Jamaica, it was the same Rastafarian movement kind of vibe, and till she got out there. But we've always been supportive of each other's career. We've always, we've been to the neighborhood shows that he has put on, supported the cause there, trying to bring the community together through the arts, so we've always supported that. But it's always a great thing when positive stuff come from these communities because people, because of the headlines and a few people that are in violence, they tend to label the community, violent communities and everything. And the truth is, there's no such thing because 90% of people in these communities are hardworking people trying to get about their business, trying to grow their families, and is in being held hostage just like anyone else on the outside. We are actually feeling it even so more so than people that are not from Augusta because we have to live in the space.
No doubt, no doubt. And Duane, you just talk a little bit maybe about how this all started for you, and when did you realize that your voice and your musical talents was a gift? And was there one stage specifically in your life where you realized that you were just different as far as your voice, how much special it was?
Well, I can't exactly say when I found that out. I just knew that when I got to about 8 or 9, my friends, used to pay me to sing to people on the phone. And those days it was the little phone box and you call the little girlfriends and pay me $20 to sing to them. So I
Right.
figured it had to be something interesting, something different from what they had to offer. but I mean, um, I've always been around music. I had an uncle that was living in with me, called Uncle Junior, that had a sound system
Mm-hmm.
in the house. Next door to me, directly across the road, was Mardy Lawn. You know what I mean? Back in the days, the dance hall was a physical space, and there was actually a physical a dance hall right across the road from me. So that the songs that I knew, many children at my school didn't know those songs. So it was
Mm-hmm.
always around me. Then my uncle became the lead singer of the Rhythm Kings band, which were at the
Mm-hmm.
time was a traveling band for Gregory Isaac. So of course, it was always up to me. So I used to tag along for the ride to these rehearsals and things. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I
Mm-hmm.
really liked it, but I was used to being in the background, preferred to be in the background back in those days. So I never really took it serious until I got to possibly around 16 when I joined up with the Catalina Players. I went to an audition, and by some miracle I actually got in the club. And it was a theater production group. So,
Mm-hmm.
they go to like classes. So we did choir, different forms of choir with a cultural and pop. And then, of course, there's a little dancing going on, a little drama. I was a terrible dancer and maybe even a worse dramatist, but
Mm-hmm.
our thespian, so to speak. Let me be correct
Right,
before
right.
you get to leave the calm about it. But I excel at music because that's where Noel Dexter taught me the value of hearing music.
Mm-hmm.
because 90% of music is hearing, but you don't know that until you realize that when you start to hear music in the form that the true form that it is, and keys and notes and things, you realize that all them Whitney Houston songs that you thought you were mastering, you weren't really doing them justice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think at that point, when I was about 16 going on 17 when I joined the Catholic players, is when I actually started paying more attention and invested a lot of time in Catholic players. You know, that's when I kind of got disconnected from even my community, because once I got done at school, by
Mm-hmm.
2:33, I was at the club. We were there on weekends and stuff like that. Which probably was a saving grace for me in retrospect. And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, out of the club, I met up with a group of brethren. We started out at 7, and we ended up at 6 for majority of the years when we were together, called to ISIS, which is a vocal group, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where, my entrance into the formal music business began.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
just look it from there. I did roughly 8 years into ISIS before. While you're growing in the group, everyone start to have their own vision of what music is. Whether people want to be pop, people want to do dancehall, hip hop. I personally was a roots man. I've
Right.
always been a roots man. I was doing a little sketch writing on the side for these songs that you couldn't necessarily perform with the group, because they weren't really interested in them kind of things. But for me, it was what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be the kind of Peter Touch, the powerful figure up front, the background singers and roots music, and motivate the people, inspire the people, and lead them into the revolution.
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was that kind of vibe. And after 8 years, we decided that it's time for us to go our separate directions. And along with Dean Fraser, I worked on the album, my first project called Duane Stephenson from Augustone. And
Mm-hmm.
the rest is history.
Right. Right. Now, what was it like being around Gregory Isaacs? What did you pick up? What stood out? I'm sure there's a lot of things that stood out, but was there one or two things that you really learned from him, picked up from him as far as being a singer, being a part of the music industry?
The truth is, Gregory is a very polarizing figure, and he was very humorous man. That's
Mm,
until the music not playing right. And is a man that would stick around for as long as that one song take to get it right, to make sure the band playing it good, or else we get very upset. And
mm.
then everybody would forget about the humorous nature that he had, what I mean? Very, very committed to the music and serious about it, man. And I think that's one of the things that eventually, separated him from the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
Okay.
no Jamaica have many great singers,
Right.
many that we've never heard of. But sometimes it's just the work that you put in, and the attitude towards the work that will make the difference.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So talk about John Holmes a little bit now, as far as studying his music, his singing
Well,
style.
for one, my uncle Junior, the one that had the sound system in the yard, was
Mm-hmm.
definitely, a John Holt fan. More than anyone else, the older artists, I'm always playing John Holt. And to me, John Holt had this smooth voice with just the right amount of, like sawdust in it, rasp, so to speak. But
Mm-hmm.
the notes that he sings are always so impeccably clean that
Mm-hmm.
listening to him sing makes you think that you can actually, write the notes down. Something that I actually did when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
What I used to do to learn these songs was to get a paper and construct boxes, because I was never taught formal music as the writing, but I construct boxes and use dashes to mark where the notes is. And when he sings, like when I could actually sing the note back from making the notes with little dashes, because what he did was so impeccably clear. You could actually
Mm-hmm.
like see your notes. So
Okay.
to me, it was just very amazing, man. And I mean, while a lot of the older artists with age, some of them get a little bit shaky with the notes and stuff. Up until John died, that was never the case. I've never seen him had a bad day, a weak moment, or even a little hiccup. while singing on stage or anywhere else.
Right. Yeah. And that really stands out is, as you say, you could hear every single word when he
Yes,
sang. It was like crystal clear, his words, crystal clear.
it's really coming from the rock, man.
Definitely, definitely, and he's definitely a founding father of that whole sound and reggae music. Right now, Duane, we're gonna go to one of your concerts, and just to give viewers who might not have seen you and those who have already seen you, just a little taste of you in concert. And so we're gonna go to one of your concerts right now, and then we're gonna come back to the interview. Just hold tight a little bit.
Yeah, man, cool, man.
Yeah. Okay, so we're still working on that. But Duane, tell me what you got going on right now as far as I know you've had an album in production for a while. Tell me the inspiration behind it and maybe a couple of the tracks that are on it.
Well, the album that I had done 2 years ago
Mhm.
should have been released since the beginning, just before the March of last year. Initially, it was supposed to have been released in 2019, actually,
Mhm.
in November. Then,
Right.
I got a little sick and couldn't go on the road and stuff like that. So it was delayed until March. And
Mhm.
as soon as it was supposed to come out, here comes COVID. So of course, we just held back because no one, the uncertainty, a lot of albums were held back because of that. So we did the same thing.
Right.
So we're trying now to feel our way through this and start putting them out. The album is called Exile to Dreadites, and only one song was actually released from that album. It's a song called Play That Song that did very well in especially Europe, England, those places. Um, but no, so sorry, that's pretty much fully produced and ready to go. We're just trying to find a release date to confirm a release date.
Mhm.
Um, Exile to Dreadites is just an album, I think, with um, basically it just speaks to the values that are now being alienated. Proper values, self-empowerment, education, self-worth, stuff like that. Love, equality, the things that Rastafarians for many years had preached that was the foundation of our reggae music, and it just seemed to have been pushed aside, alienated, so to speak. You know what I mean? So I say exile to Dreadites because we're taking it back there.
Mhm.
But fast forward today, I am now in the process of working on a new project with Donovan Jeremian from Penthouse Records.
Mhm.
Just to bowl me over, so to speak, for the pandemic, and because it makes no sense sitting around doing anything. So I'm already working on the follow-up album with Penthouse Records, and so far it's been going great. Um, this is the first time totally um an album that's being done totally aside from a very limited input from Mr. Dean Fraser, because
Mhm.
the producer for this one is Donovan German, obviously, of Penthouse, which has a whole different vibe, a different energy. And we just wanted to do something new,
Mhm.
explore a different side, see what kind of heights we can get with a different sound, so to speak. So that's what I'm currently doing right now.
Mhm. Is there a favorite track on the album? I know you love all of them, but is there one that
Um,
really appeals to
well,
you?
well, so far, I did this song called Black as Coal. Um, that is something that I think I feel some personal connection to. But definitely, so far we've gone roughly 6 tracks, and it's been a great journey so far. It's the process is a little bit different, as I mentioned, and the sound is a little bit different. But I'm enjoying it so far. I'm definitely enjoying it, and looking forward to the day when people out there, the fans, can tune in and enjoy just as much as I did. Hopefully.
Right. At what point did you realize, Duane, the power of words, as you mentioned earlier, and in song, and how it can affect people's moods, people's relationships, and people really coming together?
The truth is, I don't think there was ever a day in my life when I didn't know the power of words. I grew up hearing the songs for different things because music takes you through all the journeys that we've ever been a part of in life. I remember years ago when, of course, we're having serious struggles in Jamaica with equality, the uptown, downtown struggle, the average man not having anything and a few people having everything, which was the remnants of what the British left behind. And I remember music was the driving force, of change.
Hmm.
As a boy, you could see it, it was so clear to see. And then, of course, with the evolution of Jamaica, the music kind of, set the tone for each generation and for each step that we've ever taken throughout our civilization as Jamaicans. And by extension, the world, I remember, when reggae music was a driving force, we're trying to free, you know, um, South Africa from apartheid. I remember there was a time when like all the songs was about that at some level, and you know what I mean. So there was never a time then that I didn't know how important words were.
Hmm.
I can't remember a day when I didn't.
Hmm. So, what do you think of how much reggae has evolved in compared to when you first started to now, as far as mixing with other genres? You hear a lot of reggae and Afro beats. It seems to be the latest trend the last couple of years. What's your view on that as far as collaborating, this kind of mixing of the different genres?
I think it's because of how reggae affected the world. So everybody wanted their own identity, and of course, you know, it started with the reggae beat because if it wasn't important to them, no one would be paying us any mind. If it wasn't resonating all over the world, then all these superstars wouldn't be tuning into reggae. I've seen where over the past, I would say 8 to 10 years, that most of the superstars, especially in America, whenever they have a dull moment in their career, all of them seem to draw for either a dancehall tune or reggae tune to put themselves back in the spotlight.
Right.
I think Rihanna has done it. I mean, it's a dancehall song that even got her through the door. Beyonce has done it. Countless amount of Americans has done it at the highest level. You know what I mean? So it's because reggae has resonated so greatly amongst them and in these countries why it is, as powerful as it is. I mean, there are places in the world that has their own reggae scene down in New Zealand and the Polynesian coast. Those places have their own reggae scene going on there. They do their own acts, but it's still reggae, the West Coast reggae going on. And of course, dancehall is from dancehall came the whole reggaeton movement, and of course, it's the tone for Afrobeat coming out of both Europe and Africa right now.
Right.
So you know, we're blessed, but I think that we're having a situation of mismanagement and lack of support amongst our own that we have situations that we need to fix.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, Dwayne, I think we're ready with one of the concerts, and once we view it, I just wanted to kind of comment on it and that whole experience. I think we're queued up now, ready to go.
Excuse me a sec.
All right.
Blessed love Jamaica, blessed love world via the internet. I'm Duane Stephenson from Augustown. I'm here today to take you to a journey through life via music. It's amazing. So rock in, tune in. come in and listen now. Yes. God alone, God alone. You alone can save us. Yeah. Rastafari and I. Please won't you hear me when I cry? Send down your angels just to save us from Babylon. Oh, Rastafari and I. Please won't you hear me when I cry? I cannot face this trial alone. Rasta will the sword of God alone. Can't say we never see no evil. When we see all of the youths, them a die. Can't say we never hear the gunshot. Tears fall from my eye. People are fall like rain. Seems we immune to the pain. These are the days. Things get hard, God lights never fade. Rastafari and I. Please won't you hear me when I cry? Send down the angels just to save us. When Babylon are trying to enslave us. Rastafari and I. Please won't you hear me when I cry? I cannot face this trial alone. Rasta will the sword of God alone. Outer road, no discipline. Man, I live with no care within. Young girl, I bleach for try fitting. Young boy, I try more fancy king. These are the signs of the times. Me a pre-revelation in mind. Oh, come on, David. Grab your shield and follow me down. Rastafari and I. Please won't you hear me when I cry? Send down your angels just to save us from Babylon. Oh, Rastafari and I. Please won't you hear me when I cry? I cannot face this run alone. Rasta will the sword. Oh, Rastafari and I. Set us free. Send your angels down. Oh, Rastafari and I. Please won't you hear me when I cry? I cannot face this struggle alone. Rasta will the sword. Rastafari and I. Please won't you hear me when I cry? Send down your angels just to save us from Babylon. Rastafari, set us free, set us free.
Yes, Duane.
Yes, I.
Yes, sir. That was a great sound there, man. And what you remember most about that night?
Well, I mean, it was always a unique time. Whenever I get the time to break it down, and once the sound is good and the music is good, and it's acoustic, it's just a different vibe, a different energy. So very enjoyable, even for me, doing it. It's awesome, always.
What does performing do for you? How does it make you feel, man? Because it seems like it brings you a lot of joy when you're on stage.
As I say, the gratification from people, that's basically saying that, I am supporting your work. I love what you do. It's inspirational for the artist. You know, the job is not complete until you get the applause. The job is not complete until you get, people just saying that, man, that one song,
Mhm.
maybe even that one line, it's just, it cuts me deep for whatever reason. And it takes you back to a place or something like that. And you can't get it any other way other than, just being out there in front of people, giving back the joy that they've given to you
Mhm.
through inspiration.
Mhm. Okay. So we were talking earlier about collaborations, and is there anybody specific in mind? You said there's several, but is there anybody specific that you'd like to collaborate with in the future?
No, as I say, right now, especially with this album, through Pentos, Donovan has a lot of great reach with many great artists. And of course, I'm looking at working with a few of these great artists. You don't want to preempt anything and call me names just yet, but
Mhm.
we're looking into it. We're working on some tracks for that specific reason, and special things will be coming forth in a little bit through this
Mhm.
album that's engineered and produced by Mr. Donovan Jermaine.
Okay. If what would you say about your era from when you first started doing to now? Like how is that? How you think from you started performing? How do you kind of classify that area in just in terms of artists like yourself coming up? Do you think that you set yourself apart with? I know, like for instance, Luciano. How much of an influence was he? Maybe Garnet Silk. Just
Mm.
maybe tie into. Does it tie into those kind of really generational type singers for you?
For me, definitely. I mean, if you're going to want to be anything, I want to be one of the artists who, when the scrolls are written,
Hmm.
there's, even a line about you, that you were here, that you stood for something, that your music is of worth, that is something that will be playing years after you're gone. I want to be one of those. I aspire to be one of those. I write songs because I want them to be timeless. I want them to inspire generation to come.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So this is why I do what I do. Whatever else will come, will come. Once you put in the work, other things will come. But definitely that is my objective.
Okay.
I
What
want
do you,
20 years of the line somebody to say, "Boy, I remember that one, that Duane Stephenson man. He's one of the singers that I looked up to when I was coming up and tried to emulate something that he was doing and whatever." You know what I mean? So that is what I want for myself.
hmm Now, as far as roots and culture, Dwayne, has it changed since when you first started, or you just feel like that foundation will forever be the same, and you might have offsprings of it, but just talk about roots music, the pure roots music, if you feel it has changed or it's been a constant for you.
No, it's been a constant for me. It's definitely been a constant. I mean, some of the sounds might change, but the core of it, the core of it will definitely be the same. From the guitars to the drum beat, definitely, and the bass lines. Those things will probably remain the same. But of course, every generation will come and add their own little spice and have their own flow, as we've seen with the more recent and younger guys, where it's a little bit different from what Egyptian came up to do, from what Fanta and Moja did, from all those guys up to Chesedek and everything. Now you have a whole different kind of sound with the Janines and the, Makia and Chevron and those people. But as far as even to Chronics and Coffee and them, so everybody come and add their own little spice. But the fundamentals are pretty much the same. It's roots.
Hmm. Okay. Well, we're going to go to your concert, August Stone Live in Toronto of a couple of years ago, and just talk about that concert a little bit, maybe, Duane, as far as playing in Toronto, Canada, and we know how much Canada loves you. So, talk about that concert a little bit.
Well,
Okay, well, here we go. We're going to watch it first, and then.
A word from the wise, some try to make life on the road. Remember that Georgia's fight the sun. For I was a soul who was lost, and my life was in despair. For among evil forces in which I played, guns and ammunition were my chosen weapon.
Okay. Yes, sir. Duane Stephenson in Canada. And
Yeah.
maybe just talk about that a little bit, Duane.
Well, wow. Firstly, it was, Conscious Kings in concert. That's the name of that concert.
Oh.
And just to have been invited there was such a pleasure for me. There were a lot of great artists on the bill, and I just happened to be one of the artists on the bill, and it was an awesome experience, of course. As it usually is going to Canada, you get such warm energy for such a cold place.
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, man. So it's always was a great experience. And I mean, it wasn't my band, but those were guys that some of the guys in that band were people that I grew up playing with for many years. As a matter of fact, one of the members, the drummer of we started out, he was like a year senior to me in primary school, way back long before music. Um,
Mm.
yeah, those days he used to play the steel pad, you know what I mean? You never know where life will take us, man. But years after we ended up sorry, performing on the international stage in Canada.
Hmm.
You
Never
know.
know. Never know. Never know. Is there a venue that you like to play, Duane, that you have not played yet?
Of course, still trying to figure out, when I'll get my day to perform at Lincoln Hall in New York.
Hmm.
So it's still on the books. Sorry, it's still on the books, man. The truth is, there are many stages across the world. Luckily, that planning on taking the music to, man. It's the world is such a big place. I've been to many countries, far and wide, and there's always somewhere else that you want to go to because there's people always reaching out saying that they're supporting music come true. You see the numbers, you watch the videos, you watch the comments. So I've never taken any stage for granted, whether small or large. So I'm just looking forward to the journey ahead.
Hmm. Duane, has there ever been a point in your career where you face adversity, man, and you just stayed with it and you pulled through, man? And sometime in life we reach that crossroads where we could quit or we could just buckle down and get it done. Has there ever been that crossroads for you in your musical career?
I think most of us have that point in it. Especially, I've been in the business now for over 20 years, and there have been times then where it does become a little bit daunting, a little bit frustrating, and everything. But I don't think that as long as it has to do with music, I think if you have the love, the passion, and the inspiration to inspire through music, it will help you to get past the hurdles as they come. But I
Hmm.
can't say that I've never had those days. There have been some days. There has been periods in my career when you're wondering if at this point it's worth it anymore or whatever. But you
Hmm.
carry on, you persevere, and that's what life is about.
No doubt. The two songs that stand out for a lot of people are two of the songs are Little Cottage in the Grill and August Tone. Um, just maybe speak on each, just performing it. Let me start with August Tone, what that means for you specifically.
Well, Augustone is a story of Augustone. It's a story that a lot of us that grew up there can attest to. Um, it was a change in the community. For many of us, the football field was D-Day, so
Mm,
to speak.
the
Um,
battlefield.
yeah, it's the truth that we seek through music, and that's what Augustone is to me. And aside from that, at the time when that album came out and even the song, for me, it was an identity. That's why the album was named Duane Stimson from Augustone. It
Hmm.
was an identity. So, you know, take it or leave it. This is what I was, I am, this is what I represent, and this is where I'm from, and this is what I'm about.
Hmm.
You know, Augustone is where I grew up. It's a place, so to speak. You know what I mean? In terms of Cottage in the Grill now, was Cottage in the Grill for me was an opportunity to reintroduce a great artwork to a new generation. That song was originally done by a virgin called Tyrone Taylor. No,
Mm.
anybody knows anything about Tyrone Taylor or even know this song? No, that song didn't necessarily need to be redone. It was so masterfully done the first time around,
Wow.
you know. But I just thought that, you know, people had forgotten. People had forgotten him. People had forgotten the beauty of that song. The fact that it would take you back to an innocent Jamaica, to a, you know, mystical, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, to almost a mythical Jamaica. And that was my opportunity to, you know, to reintroduce this song that I loved so much. You know, and that's why I used the opportunity to do that particular song.
Yes, no doubt. And that happens to be one of my favorite songs. Every time I put it on, man, I just feel like a time travel back to Jamaica or some beach on some island,
Yeah,
man.
man.
And it's a classic. It's a classic forever, forever, forever. We'll never get old. We'll never get old.
True words.
Yeah. So right now, Duane, we're going to play your collaboration with Agent Sasco. Play that song. And we're just going to play that right now, and then we're going to get back to the interviews. All right, so we're queuing that
All
up.
right.
All right.
So, hey, Friday night again. Judge of the respect and all us with them on the ends. Oh, man, Lord. I John. John love sound systems, you know. Talk to them, singer. Them ya kind of group, yeah, we talking about. Oh, oh. I am on. Select and play that song. Sweet reggae music all night long. No one no time, we no going no waste. Watch the smile on the people's face when you play that song. Play the music all night long. I make me rap so, I rub a dub so, I make we dip so sweet, no calypso. Yeah. Long time we are wait for this. Hear some sweet roots music I play with a royal twist. Just want the queens, them move them waist. Not them this is string to bleach our face. No bad vibes around me. I just put vibes in the place. When you play that song, sweet reggae music all night long. No one the time for no gun in the waist. Watch the smile on the people's face. When you play that song, play the music all night long. I make me rap so, I rub a dub so, I make we dip so sweet, no calypso. I'm on the big juggling, I want me up to read this. It's after it's so every tune the place live. Not to rush your bed, it's up to no matter racing it. Calm up the juggling, back to basic and give it. Reggae music, or rubber dub. Dance and music in the land, I'm in the club and watch it. Got them a bubble on it. Yes, in our trouble when them got the big sit up and up. Select and play that song. Play the music all night long. No one the time, we no gun in a waste. Watch the smile on the people's face. When you play that song, sweet reggae music all night long. I make we rock so, I rub a dub so, I make we dip so sweet, no calypso. Oh, let's play the music. Oh, oh. Don't you abuse it. Hey, watch out now. Because the jump on the day and over be a big sound. And everybody gather, it's a party in town. And a murder every time the turntable spin round. And who say him a champion after the burning crown. Cause obvious of the big tune and fling down. And the special them a bust the bed like a big sound. We not go touch murder when you hear me till sound. So officer don't knock it down. Select and play that song. Play the music all night long. No one the time, we no gun in a waste. Watch the smile on the people's face. When you play that song, play the music all night long.
Yes, Agent Sasco. Nice rhythm there, Duane.
Thank you, man.
Okay, so what's next, Duane? I know you've had this album that you're about to release whenever it's whenever the time is right. What other mountain do you have to climb, so to speak? I know you're always looking for challenges. So just tell me what's on the horizon, what you hope to tackle in the near future.
Well, for now, I'm basically just, making music like most of the other musicians out there, just making music, trying to make sure that when the time is right, we're there to inspire, to help pull people out of this conundrum that we've faced for the past 2 years. You know what I mean? So just readying yourself, I'm saying, when you're a soldier on the battlefield, you have to always be ready. You don't necessarily, you're not necessarily going to be called into war, but you have to be ready. So we're just trying to be ready musically and just to navigate this whole situation like the rest of us. We're definitely not disconnected from it. And as I said before, I think that our business is, aside from, essential workers, we are the next in line for the most impacted business right across the board. So, there's a lot to do. And hopefully, once we get to the other side, then we can pick up from where we left off and, just get back to the business of music, entertaining, inspiring, and uplifting people.
So how was this pandemic? Everybody has, it's been a challenge for many people mentally and emotionally. How have you been able to cope, Duane, through this past year or so with everything and stay positive?
For one, we have to just take it for what it is, man. We have limited control over what is happening. We have to just try and be safe. You have to be conscious of our surrounding. And for me, I use the opportunity and the time provided to explore other things, other interests that I had, to keep my mind occupied. And I think most of us will have to do that. We can't be consumed with the negativity because, the sun still shines in the morning, and the nights are still beautiful with fireflies. And we have to keep that in focus, definitely. And as I say, try to find other ways to, keep the mind busy.
hmm No doubt. If you had something to tell your fans right now, Duane, the floor is yours, man. As far as anything you want to tell your fans right
Well, firstly, I would love to say, no thanks for, always supporting the music. Not only my music, but reggae music as a whole. And people be safe out there, make wise decisions, keep your mind occupied, hold on to the positive things in life, keep your eye on the light, and just take the darkness for what it is, a passing phase until the sun will come out tomorrow again.
now.
So me I say, and if you can, lend an helping hand. You'll feel better about it when you wake up in the morning.
No doubt, no doubt,
Yeah.
no doubt. So just last time, just tell me the album again to come out and where people can find you on your socials, Duane.
Well, for anything doing Stevenson, I mean, we're just going to be rebuilding the whole website, but there's still information, your valuable information as how to get to us and also to the music at DuaneStevensonReggae.com. Or you can follow me at Duane Stevenson on Facebook or Duane Stevenson Reggae on Instagram. So any one of those places, definitely you can tune in. Or if you want any of my previous albums, you can always go to vprecords.com and just put in Duane Stevenson and all the music, new, old, everything will be there. When I tune into Duane Stevenson YouTube channel, same way. So right in, come in and support the music, you know what I mean? Love.
Right, right. Okay, Duane. Well, Duane, I just want to thank you for all the music that you've produced over the years, and it's an uplifting vibe that it's always a positive upliftment, and I think that's something that's needed, especially now. So thank you, man, for all your efforts, and thank you for keeping it positive, and thank you for always staying true to your roots, man. So
Yeah, man.
really appreciate that, man. So we're gonna close out with my favorite, selfishly, We're going to close out with now my favorite cottage in the grill. And once again, Duane, thank you for coming on, brother. All the best to you. Stay safe, and we'll definitely talk again.
Yeah, man. Big up, man. Big up
Okay.
yourself. No fear.
Respect, man. All right.
From a little cottage in the green, I wrote these lines to you. From a little cottage in the green, I realize I love you still. From a little cottage in the hill, way down west in England, this man said, he said, pining for your love. Gee, way I miss you. Now my lips wanna kiss you. I called you on the phone. To my surprise, you were not home. But from a little cottage in the green, I wrote these lines to you. Yeah. From a little cottage in the green, I realize I love you still. Brothers getting trade, some sniffing, some getting high, linking sense of meaning pie. Some get high, jamming sense of meaning cane. Then go west to watch sunset at the Rick's Cafe. But from